Just a word before you watch this video. This idea for a hinge bait came from a YouTube guy called the Engineered Angler. You can look him up. Really good stuff. He's got a method that's done right and clean. Mine's a little messier. It's the first time I'm just trying it out. So you can watch my video, and it's going to work because I'm making this kind of after the fact. I'm half done. But look for his segmented bait with the unusual hinge in it. And if you're interested in making one of these yourself, that's the one you really want to check out too. Highly recommend. I've been watching one of my favorite YouTube channels, the Engineered Angler. You got to check him out. He's pretty good. And he has a very nice, unique sort of design for a segmented swim bait that has a beautiful movement in the water. And I don't know if I can duplicate what he does, but I'm going to give it a shot. Let's start off with a 4-inch line. And again, that's about as big as I dare make a swim bait for the areas that I fish in. And I want to be able to have the bait be kind of uniform, so that when I make the segments, they'll move more they'll move more smoothly. Belly out a little bit more at the bottom. We'll go with that. The eye towards the front, and something like that. When I cut it out, I might leave this a little higher right there. And the segments, since this is 4 inches, I'm going to put 2 segments in, and have this here. So one will go just behind the gill plates here, and it's 1 3/8. And the other one, I think I'll put a little bit higher than I want to here, right about there. And I'm working off the same piece of wood that I've been working off from for the last half dozen baits. Piece of pine from a tree that I cut down and had sawn up back in the late 70s. Most of my house is made, a lot of the finish on my house is made with this wood on the outside. Let's go to the saw. I've usually been doing this on the scroll saw, but that's because I've always had a wide 1/2-inch blade in my bandsaw. But I took and put an 1/8 inch in. I must say it goes really nice. The only thing is they often don't have a big longevity, particularly in this old bandsaw. But I do like the way it works. Okay, this is where I'm going to make my cuts for the joints. I want it a little bit thicker in the front, and then to have a nice gradual taper as it goes back. So I think that that is the starting point for cutting it. And I will bring this right about here and that right about there. There's also a new belt on the belt sander, so that should be nice. The old one was getting pretty bad. I've got a pretty good taper to it, and it's pretty even all the way across. I think we'll go with that for now. I've got to carve this, but first I need to take and make a partial cut through here. So while I can still have it flat, I may have a square line in order to cut it, so that, and then I'll cut it through completely afterwards. And here are the partial cuts. And now it's time to carve. This will be a long process. I'll be back. The gills drawn on both sides, pretty symmetrical, all done freehand. Now I'm going to carve them out a little bit. I'd like a little relief to this lure. I've got a cube of the pine wood that I've been working with to make the lure that's 2 by 2 by 2 centimeters. And I'm going to take and find the mass of this, and then we'll go from there as far as finding its density. I'm going to try to make this one weighted a little more scientifically if I can. We'll see if we can do it. Units in grams. 4 grams. Let's see. 4 grams. Okay, I've got a cube of this, which is 2 by 2 by 2 centimeters. 4, 2, 4, 8. 8 cubic centimeters. And its mass is 4 grams. So in this case, the mass is 4 grams and the volume is 8 cubic centimeters. So the density is equal to 1/2 or 0.5 grams per cubic centimeter. Now water has a density of 1 gram per cubic centimeter. So anything less than 1 will float, anything more than 1 would sink. So this block would probably float about halfway up. The water level will be about halfway up on the block. So I need to get some mass in here to bring the weight of this just below 1 gram per cubic centimeter. The bait weighs 10 grams. So with pine, you've got to double the weight in order to get it to be neutral in water. So I have to get this something greater than 20 grams total. Or I have to add something greater than 10 grams of mass to this. Well, there's a lead hole, and we'll fill it later. And hopefully we'll get the right amount, we'll weigh it, and then we'll drill some out if we have to. We'll drill another hole if we need to for more weight, but I'm hoping that'll be enough. I've got these little hinges now. Pick this one up. It's going to go right in a slot that I'm going to drill here. And I got to let you know that the Engineered Angler, who has a YouTube channel by that name, these are his hinges. I do not know if anyone else uses them, but I've seen them with him, and they seem to work really well. So I'm here to give them a shot. Well, I've got the lure together, and I've got the hinge pins in. I mixed up some epoxy, and I'm waiting for this to dry. I've taken some lead shot that I have and filled the ballast hole in the bait, and the bait itself needed to have a mass of 20 grams in order to get this to be water neutral. So that I've only got 15, and that's full. So I'm going to have to drill another hole, which I fully expected to have to do. And yes, I will have hooks on there and the finish and so forth, and that'll add a little bit, but maybe a gram, and that's about it. So it's really sort of insignificant, considering the whole thing. So another hole it is. Well, I've got this bait with 2 holes with lead shot in it. I've got it up to 17 grams. I wanted 20. But that's all really the holes I want to drill in this. So I'm kind of hoping that that between the finish on it and the hooks and the eyelets and so forth, I'll get it up to 20, or hopefully a little bit better. Now this stuff is pretty quick dry, so I will leave that and let it harden. Then I'll put another layer over it too, because it's a little concave. It's all ready for sealing. I probably should have sealed and worked on the sealing of this bait and painting of this bait when it was in segments, but I really needed to get this hinge together to see if it was even going to be viable. And so it is together, and I can't take it apart now. So I'm going to dip it in sealer and leave it overnight, let it dry, and then I'm going to take it out outside in the water down by the lake and see how it goes, see how the action. I'll put some hooks on it, see how the action is, and if it seems to work out, I'll go from there. If it doesn't, well, it'll be a bust. I want to get it good and soaked. I want it in the hinge, because the wood where the hinges won't have any final finish on it. So I want it to get good and sealed in there. Okay, we'll hang it up and we'll see you in the morning. Here is the articulated swim bait. Very rough before the paint, before anything, except for sealer. Going into the water for the first time. Got a couple hooks on it. Trying it out. Sinks. It's so fast here. Now that's not bad. We have some nice smooth water here. I wanted it to sink slowly, which is what it does. And it sinks slowly, which is what I wanted. Now to finish it off. It's a keeper. This has been tested in the water now, and you've seen it, and it's ready to paint. I'd like to paint it using these hemostats, but this thing is so floppy that if I put it in those, it'll just kind of like bend all over the place. So I'm going to paint it into what I used to use more often, which is this holder. At least it'll hold it straight, and I'll be able to get the paint off it evenly without it flopping all over the place. I'm not going to get really fancy with this bait. When I made it, just wanted to see if I could, and then I wanted to get it in the water to see how it moved, to see if it was worth making another one or finishing this off. Since I've gotten this far, I could finish it off. I won't finish it off really fancy. I'll just a matter of painting it and then putting some UV clear coat on, which won't take long at all. I do plan on making another bait like this, but making it much better. This one was pretty rough. I had a rough time getting everything to work right, and kind of experimenting on how to do it as I went along. We'll start off by just coating it with some silver. Since this is a sort of a temporary, just let's finish it off for the heck of it lure, how about some sunburst? Make it wild. Yeah. And let's deepen the tone a little bit with a little bit of just straight fluorescent orange. Little violet, I don't know. Violet and orange. Not sure how that's gonna play. I must say, that is rather unique. Well, this is getting interesting. I'm going to put some opaque red on the top. And believe it or not, I've got two more colors to put on. Dark opaque blue and black on the top anyway. And we need a little bit of yellow on the bottom. A little bright red underneath on the chin. And some black on the back and around the eyes. And I'm not going to get fancy with the gills. I'm just going to like backfeed them with a little silver paint.